This show contains views and opinions that may not be suitable for certain audiences. Listener discretion is strongly advised. A friendly reminder, Mary Jane edibles are not a substitute for actually paying your Lyft driver. Don't forget to tip your bartenders, you filthy fucking animals. And if you've got kinks, we've got links. Don't forget to subscribe, put on your seatbelt, and enjoy the ride.
Howdy, 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 everybody, and welcome to Thespian Talk. It has been way too long since we've done one of these, because life kicks us into various genitals. Because that's the world we live in, apparently. I am your host, Gomer the Ranting Thespian. With me this week is Scolipendra.
Hello.
And Michelle.
Hello.
And yeah, fucking hell. We've been dealing with heat waves and world on fire and literal oceans on fire and politicians saying one thing and doing another, but that's just American politics in general.
I'm British.
Yeah, it's white colonizer politics in general. Though I'm pretty sure non-colonizer politicians also act the same way. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was because of white people influence. So white people ruin everything. Then send this to your neo-Nazi fasci friends. Send that clip to your neo-Nazi fasci friends, and you know what? Bring it on. You know what? You will help. You will help with the engagement and boost me all the way up. You know, I have to wonder though. I see a whole. For those who follow Tony Goldmark, every now and then he'll get into it with like random Twitter trolls that come at him on his Twitter, and it's like, no, you. On the one hand, yeah, maybe you shouldn't feed the trolls because it does help them get a platform even unintentionally. But on the other hand, they're still engaging Tony and drawing attention to Tony as well. It works both ways. I don't always have the patience to go on long tirades against trolls. I put in a couple of pot shots every now and then. But if you see me start pulling out the George Carlin masturbation gif, that's when you know I'm getting sick of you. Just because that's what a lot of these trolls do. It's masturbation. And not even in a sexual way. But yeah, so how have you guys been? Scully, how have you been the past however long?
Well, I've been doing alright. Watching a ton of Plagued Moth, basically.
I tell you what.
Oh yeah, he's a true crime YouTuber.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
How about you, Michelle?
Oh boy. So, I'm part of the reason it's been so long, and I said it was a fun story, and I'd save it for the
Recording.
show. So we needed a new cooker. Like, we knew we needed a new cooker for a while. It had been going for ages. He had the money. He said, "Okay, fine, we'll do it." Like literally the day before it was supposed to. Okay, because I can get myself bottled up now. So. We only have a one-bedroom flat. In order to get anything into the kitchen that's significantly large, like we did with the washing machine and then we had to do with the cooker, we need to clear out the entirety of the hallway, which means clearing out the furniture, but then obviously everything that's in the furniture, which in the hallway's case is like my drinks cabinet. And then clear out the walkway behind the sofa to get into the kitchen, which again is another cabinet with a whole bunch of stuff in it. Now, in fairness, doing all that, once you get going, doesn't take that long. A couple of hours tops, like putting everything in the baskets, making sure everything's safe and secure. My friend helped me with the drinks and stuff because that was a little bit of a further distance. There's a lot of glasses in there, so it's just easier to have two people shuttling back and forth than one trying to do it all on their own.
Yeah.
So pulling it all apart actually doesn't take that long, and even putting it back together, that took me a little bit longer. It took a couple of days, but that was just because I wasn't rushing it.
Right.
So, pulled everything apart. Didn't take that long. We lived with it. Okay, so we've got a day sort of like between my friend being able to help me out, and then the guys actually coming. They came on the day and in the time window they said they'd be here. Not a problem. Except at the moment they pulled up, a traffic warden said, "Oi, you can't park here." And like, we're doing a delivery, it don't matter, you can't park. Like, which everyone's like, no, because it's a loading bay, it's an area, but
Yeah.
they're a relatively new company into the area, so they didn't want to like cause trouble, get into trouble, like have a ticket on their record or whatever. So like, we can't. There's the whole thing like, were we going to have to write to the council to get a parking permit? We actually have a good relationship with the caretakers, so in the end, my boyfriend was able to just talk to the caretakers and say, "Look, could you drop the barrier so like they can come?" Because it's just a bollard. It's like literally, because it used to be an arm barrier, but now it's like literally one bollard that can be removed, and then you can just drive through that gap.
Right.
And they said, "Yeah, we'll leave it out for you, so they can come in and do the thing." So that was fine. There was a little bit of back and forth to get that established that we could do that.
Right.
But it took another 2 weeks to get the next appointment. 2.5 weeks to get the next appointment. So we were just like, well, it's going to be easier just to live with the living room in chaos than to go back and forth again, isn't it? Like, yes, it'll be annoying, but we can do it. So that's fine. We made the decision between us. We can live with the living room like this. Fine. Stupid, but doable.
Yeah.
We did move a couple of bits because there was like a lot of stuff in the way. I was like, "This is stupid. This we could move this unit and this unit just so we can like breathe." But everything else, all the fiddly stuff, which was fine, except at the point I realized, oh shit, I left my microphone in its cubby hole, which is now buried behind a bunch of booze and glasses.
Oh no!
Oh no.
So when I said my microphone was buried and I literally can't do any, because I'm not going to revert back to my old shitty microphone.
Yeah.
It's like I used to have a gaming headset and it was like really bad. Like I didn't realize how bad it was. Like if you've listened or watched the compilation of the Bun Squad videos, you can actually tell the moment I get the upgraded microphone.
Yeah.
Like literally it goes from one clip where it sounds like shit to the new microphone and it's like, whoa! I did not realize how bad that was.
Yeah.
So I'm not going backwards again. Even if it's just for like casual like this.
Yeah.
Thankfully, Zen hasn't needed any dialogue from me, so I haven't needed to do any work with it. But it's just like, oh, okay then. Because it's not something that occurred to me because I didn't expect to be, having everything in the way for 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
The other stupid thing, and this is more of a him thing, but he's like, what oven do you want? Like, what do you want? Should we go to a shop? Should we do something? Should we do a look? I said, look, the oven we had has lasted near enough 10 years. And this is where I got slightly confused in the timeline because the day before, like, the new delivery date, because it had been really chugging along, it literally died. I was making some chips, the power went out, and what was that about? Put it back on, like, the chips are undercooked. Like, they were defrosted, they were cooked enough, like, you're not getting food poisoning from potato. I don't think. At least not a fresh potato.
I mean,
and,
it's possible. Pretty
yeah.
sure.
There was heat in them. I think they got up to about, like, 40 or 50 C. So they were definitely defrosted and warm. Just a bit fluffy. It died like literally a day or two before the actual delivery date. So we like, we'll do some rice, we'll do something else with it. We'll work out what we can do for dinner for those couple of days. But yeah, literally the day before the new one arrived, it deaded. It died doing what it loved. But it was
Cooking
like, no
food.
Yes. So we were like, no, it's fine. Get the same model, or if there's a slightly better version, get that. But no, that has done as well. I'm happy with the service that thing has given us. It's just easier to get the same one.
Right.
Which we did. But he got it from this one store because he knew he could get it relatively quick delivery time. But I think he paid like $5.50. He could have gone to another store and maybe got it for like $400, $450. I'm not sure the exact price difference. But then he would have to wait a longer time period for it. Basically, he paid the full price to have the same waiting time.
Wow.
So it was just like, oh. such, all because the bloody traffic Nazis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said it.
Oh boy.
But other than that, plodding along, still doing 7 days. Although doing 7 days, which hasn't been good, but not long days. So I'm like usually home by 12, 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
But my company has lost the contract for the restaurant group. Nothing anyone did. It's just somebody outbid them, so it's fine. So I get my Sundays back.
Yay!
And I've got a holiday coming up as well, so that'll be nice.
There you go. Yeah, we
But
over
yeah,
here had a holiday, didn't we? Oh,
Yep.
holiday where we celebrate the creation of a nation that really wanted to oppress and take over the brown people, but what I'm understanding, the other, they were barred from doing so by Daddy England, and they were like, no, we're gonna do it. And they're like, you better not. Like, we gonna. All right, we're gonna come over there and kick your ass. Oh, really?
Yeah, really.
And like,
this is why when I always say to the people that I do mention it to, is a happy bugger off then day.
there you go.
Yeah.
Fine, do it yourself.
Yeah. And we celebrate this by shooting off fireworks and triggering a whole bunch of PTSD victims and dogs. Yeah. Which is like, it's one of those things where it's like, I enjoy the spectacle of fireworks every now and then. They look cool. But at the same time, it's like, some of people are doing it in residential neighborhoods, like Mr. Mayor here in town. Thank you very much.
Your dad.
Yeah, that would be. Yes. Which typically, I in and of itself, there's not an issue as long as you do it safely. But I am now a lot more aware of potentially the war veterans that might be around here that could legit be triggered by it, or dogs that just cannot handle it because it's loud noises and they don't know where it is, so they're scared. They're whatever. And as of Becky's dogs are really well behaved when it comes to fireworks. They just don't give a shit. They do give a shit about other things, but just not the fireworks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, all of that happened, and yeah, we have the 4th, and people are trying to sweep the 6th of January under the rug. Yeah, that's the one where a whole bunch of Nazis decided to try and overrun the not the White House,
the government.
The government building.
Yeah.
And they're like, and of course, there's so many people. Oh well, it was Antifa. It's like, 1, Antifa's not a group. Number 2, we have video and photo evidence, you assholes.
And
come
3, no, if you meet one of these people in person,
yeah,
this is what you do. When they say this, you stand there calmly and you hold out your arms. When they ask what you're doing, you said, well, I'm waiting for the big pile of evidence that clearly you have, but the FBI don't.
There you go. Oh, Lordy.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, of all the people that, I don't know how many that have actually been brought in for questioning, in connection with, have actually been charged. So we'll go with the people that have actually been charged. Have any of them turned out to be Antifa or any of those other left-wing things that the right wing say are scary?
Nope. Not at all. Not a one. It's just, no. I will say that the people on the left need to be a lot more proactive in certain areas, and they have, and a lot of them have been. They've been out there protesting. They've been out there making things inconvenient for the bourgeoisie and all of that, and that's good. We need to do that. And I don't care what DeSantis says. You run over a protester. I don't care what side of the aisle they're on. You run over a protester, and you get away with it. And it's somebody that I care about. Well, I mean, they got bail money, right? like seriously, that is one of the things that DeSantis has pushed through in Florida, that you can legally run over a protester, essentially legally run over a protester, and it's like, no, dude, no. I don't care what DeSantis says.
One, that doesn't hold up, but that holds up for as long as it's one of his team that gets run over. Then suddenly he'll kick up and scream.
Yeah. Because of course, because that's the big thing I'm noticing with a lot more conservatives. Okay, I've been noticing it for years, that they can dish out all sorts of shit, but the moment you try and fight back, they're like, they're like little children. They're little child bullies, is what they are. In both senses of the words, they are bullies who have the mindsets of children, and they also bully children directly. So yeah. Oh yeah. But speaking of people who need to be bullied, and I don't mean.
I was going to ask. I was going to ask if you're about to change subject. Sorry.
Yeah.
As a Floridian, what do you think about his move to like have DeSantis run for president next election? With a lot of people seem to be gunning for him.
Well, I hope they gun for him in very, very much a different way than what we're talking about. Is that what you think? Is that what I think it is? I'll let you determine that, and I don't give a shit. Because guess what?
We don't have a Second Amendment.
Yeah, because let me tell you this: if people like Rush Limbaugh and Alex Jones and Bill O'Reilly can get away with that kind of talk, so the fuck can I? I don't care. Mm-hmm. Fuck you.
Free speech, baby.
Yeah. So, speaking of conservatives, and I'm pretty sure this is a conservative movement in the anime community, because that's usually where this trail leads. So, just in the past couple of days, I've been made aware of this free anime streaming service called AnimeTube that's trying to get kickstarted. And there's a couple of Twitter threads. I'm going to go through some of the highlights as much, or the full thread, depending on the size. So, this particular thread was started up by Kanipa, over at Kanipa Show on Twitter. They said, there's a Kickstarter for a free anime streaming service that got super popular overnight. The marketing for it is misleading at best. Screenshots show popular anime like Attack on Titan, Sword Art Online, and Full Metal Alchemist, but there's no way they can even touch those licenses. Because, yeah, those are huge. I'd like to see them try and get the Pokemon anime license. Holy shit. You think those three are big? Don't get me wrong. They're big, they're popular. But then you have Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And continuing on the thread, I am so on board with anime becoming less corporate and breaking the monopoly. This feels naive at best, predatory at worst. There's no way a crowd-funded effort can beat the current streaming services or paying massive amounts in licensing. Unless you're crowdfunding from, like, say, billionaires, which they're too busy trying to get off the planet in some perceived notion to try and escape this burning hellscape. It ain't gonna work. So anyway, one of the things AnimeTube is promising is to somehow have a larger catalog than any competing streaming service up until now. That is impossible. By the way, I just want to note, there is a streaming service that is completely free that has a larger catalog than any competing streaming service up until now. But it's piracy. Pirate your shit. If you really want to stick it to the big corporations, and that's the key term, the big corporations, pirate shit.
But even Crunchyroll, if you actually are interested in subscribing to it and it's worth it for you, it's not actually that expensive, is it?
No. But here's the thing. Individually, sites like Crunchyroll, Funimation, Hulu, Netflix, on their own, for one of them, not too bad. But if you want to subscribe to all 5 of them, I think 4 or 5 of them, however many I counted, and let's say for the sake of easy math, it's $20 a month for of them. So $20 to Netflix, $20 to Crunchyroll, $20 to Funimation, $20 to Hulu. That's already what, $80 right there? That's like, you could buy yourself a whole new video game for that and have some left over. So it's and even more importantly, you could buy more food with that. You could put gas in your car for that amount.
Yeah.
To spread it out over 4 different services, no. It's a whole nickel and dime thing. That's why piracy is still around, because it's getting too expensive. And piracy, you can get your shit all in one place.
A lot of the stuff, like the Hulu, HBO Max, because we never had them as a separate thing, a lot of them fold into Netflix and Prime for us here. And obviously we also have Star as part of Disney Plus. So I have like just the 3 plus my regular cable subscription, and I mean it's like £83 for my phone, but that's my TV, landline, and internet,
Right.
and that's on a fixed thing. And then I got the Disney Plus on a year subscription, so that was £60, which I've already paid, so that's already done.
Yeah.
And then I think it's like the 8, 9, we'll say £10 each for Prime and Flix. I think actually a little bit less than that. So, okay, coming up closer to again the 100, but that's including phone and internet and the TV packages,
Right.
and the streaming service separate.
Yeah. In that case, you're getting more than just streaming a whole bunch of television shows, movies, and all that. You're getting other things as well. But the way I'm seeing it, if corporations actually had a brain, maybe they could actually work together and say, okay, people want to see all of our stuff, but they're getting tired of paying individual prices. Make it one lump sum. It can even be a little higher. You can even make it let's say $50 a month if you want to be generous. It probably wouldn't work out too well at 50. You'd probably have to lower it, but run with me on this one. The 50 is easier math at this point. So $50 a month, you can see everything on Disney Plus, see everything on Netflix, see everything on Hulu, Funimation, Crunchyroll, at the best quality you can get, that 1080p or 4K or whatever, all for $50 a month. That is, again, for all of these, just the 4 I mentioned earlier was already 80. You add Disney Plus into that's 100 right there. That's half the price for what you would pay for all 5 of those individually.
I mean, you could expand it to an a la carte option. So, say Netflix and Disney Plus are compulsory, but then you can add whatever else you want up to X number. And if you want more than that, like keep adding an extra $5 or something.
Here's the thing. I think all of it should be one price, because even with like Disney Plus, let's just say use Disney Plus.
Yeah.
I had a year subscription to it when it first came out, and I hardly used the damn thing. You know, just because I didn't have the patience to sit down and try and watch a streaming video at that particular moment. So, okay, but then I would sometimes, I'd watch, let's say, an episode of the 80s, 90s DuckTales. I think it was 87 DuckTales.
Yeah.
Watch an episode of that every now and then. Okay, sure. Watch Iron Man. Okay, sure. And that was about the extent of it. It's for $60 a year. But all that stuff was still there and available. Did I waste my money on that? Maybe. But at the same time, I would rather pay money for parts of a service that I don't use and have that available to me just from the get-go for one price, as opposed to paying for only part of it and then get a wild hair up my ass and be like, oh, hey, maybe I want to check this out. I'll pay a little bit more. I'd rather have it all be available for one price. That way, and for a lower price than what you would pay for it individually, obviously.
Maybe I wasn't. Sorry, yeah. I said maybe I wasn't quite explaining properly. Like, have the a la carte option be like, okay, so you have to have this channel or this service, but then you have like any of the options. Like, maybe you like the idea of Netflix and Disney, but you also prefer ESPN, or maybe you just want documentaries. So you have the choice of all the potentials that maybe on your idea of a fixed bundle. Like, maybe someone isn't interested in like the Crunchyroll. I wouldn't want that in their bundle. So a la carte it. So yes, you can have this number of channels from these options for this fixed price. And if you want something else on top of that, then then it comes into like adding onto it.
I can see that, but that too like old model for me.
Okay.
we need to go forward with this. That's why places like Flixtor and GoGo Anime are still doing shit. They're both basically their piracy side. One for anime, obviously. The other one for most movies and cartoons from like 100 years ago up to the present day. Both of them are free to use initially. GoGo Anime is totally free. But Flixtor, it's good for keeping up with things from like 3 to 6 months, depending on the format that you're watching. They do, and to get to the rest of their library, they ask, hey, can you help pitch in for like server fees and what have you? And for 1 month of their server fee pitch in, I think it's like similar to the price of a Netflix subscription or a Hulu subscription. And you get, for that price, you get stuff that you can get on Disney Plus, stuff that you could probably get on Hulu, stuff that you can get pretty much anywhere else that's not anime, because anime has its own thing. So Flixtor, in terms of pricing, that is the perfect one. No, I'm probably not going to watch the majority of the stuff they have on there, because there's a bunch of horror movies on there. I'm not into horror, so that's no skin off my back, and the money still goes to help pay for server costs, which every website needs that, because money makes the world go round. I guess I don't know, but so for that, in exchange for that, I can go and I can watch and even download older shows that I haven't seen since I was a kid, or shows that I wanted to give a shot to, but I didn't want to pay for the relevant service just for that one, without any other options that would pertain to me. At least with Flixtor, there are new options, there are old options, and hell, it was through Flixtor that I've been watching Fuller House, which it's not as it's not as bad as I've heard it be, and there's definitely some corny moments, and with some things I know about John Stamos and the whole thing with Lori Loughlin back a couple of years ago, that makes it a little bit of harsher in hindsight, but Jodie Sweetin's in it. She's all grown up, and oh my god.
Must do.
Yeah. But yeah. And I love the fact that her character basically gets with a himbo. Dumb of ass, but big of heart.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's honestly, if you liked Full House, you'll like Fuller House. It's good. It's good enough. Although I do appreciate like the first episode that one of the smaller kids was like, I already know the naughty word. It was like, I think it was like gosh darn and Donald Trump. I don't remember the first two, but Donald Trump was the stinger. I was like, oh damn. And I do appreciate the fact that they're not afraid to do certain things that the original show wouldn't have done. Like, there's one point where Stephanie and Kimmy had a kiss, and it's played for laughs, and it wasn't because they were attracted to each other or anything. It was just Kimmy's ex trying to become husband again, kept fumbling his word, got Stephanie to do it, and apparently he did such a good job that Kimmy just couldn't help herself. Like, oh dear. And there were people that are like, oh my.
Oh my.
Yeah. But anyways, that was a bit of a tangent. So anyway, back to AnimeTube. So to continue on the thread, people have already donated over $100,000 to this. And I really do fear that a lot of it has to do with the lack of information about the industry, as well as the sponsored vouching from a popular webcomic creator. Because what they do tout is like free anime with no subscriptions required, subs for an ad-free experience, that sort of thing, standard thing. I guess, and some of the things that they're touting as issues that might want to get people to pay for AnimeTube or to support or whatever, things like crashing during video playback. That happens on literally any site. I don't care if it's Crunchyroll, I don't care if it's YouTube. That happens. That's the video advertisements. Hi, YouTube. That's why we have ad blockers. Ad blockers are free. All libraries, despite 18,000 plus anime shows, movies in existence. Licensing fees up the wazoo, but hey, it's not a problem if you pirate. Low quality apps due to focusing on maximizing revenue. Kind of like what you're doing. Inadequate search features, which, in fairness, yeah. I mean, even Go Anime, if you know what you're looking for, it's not too bad, but it's not like, oh, actually, their search features, no, they're not that bad. Because you can sort it by year, you can sort it by language, you can sort it by type, it's like movie, OVA, series, what have you. So yeah, and apparently it got even worse, because there is this there is this letter that was posted. And it was posted, and somebody had said, you ever see one of those Kickstarters where you immediately know they're going to end up on a segment of some YouTuber's crowdfunding scams top 10? So this, apparently, at the time this screen cap was taken, it was 28 days before. I'm assuming it's 28 days before the day we record it. So, and this is from George Weller, CEO of GameFace LLC, which I think is one of the players in the whole anime tube. And they say, the industry is moving away from exclusive licenses, and they are not happy with Sony owning several of the largest anime streaming and distribution services in the USA. This is the reason they are moving 3,000 shows to Anime Log, and frankly, YouTube is a horrible place to store anime. It's a horrible place to store most things. Also combined, Crunchy and Funimation have only around 7 to 9% of the total anime shows available. Admittedly, because they're staying current. Like, Funimation, they had, I don't know if they still have Chobits on there, but Chobits, if it's not on there anymore, I could understand, because Chobits was from like 2003, but then again, they also have older shit. Like, I think Crunchyroll does have like the Unico movie, so you can watch them legally, which is good, by the way. If you haven't watched the Unico movies, go do it. There's a ton of good content that is not licensed and is not dubbed. In addition, not all streaming rights are exclusive. I mean, I could probably watch stuff on Funimation that I can also watch on Crunchyroll. Like Dr. Stone, I think, is one of those. I could be wrong. Maybe the Danganronpa anime are on both of them. I don't know. I'm not going to look right now because I'm doing a show. There's a ton of... Yeah, okay, I read that. Streaming rights are not the same as distribution and dubbing rights. But when we go after dubbing and distribution rights, it is likely going to require another Kickstarter campaign to fund it. After we get a few shows and enough subbed anime license, we will have the funds to bid on anime to dub and distribute based on our MVP surveys. Our users will get to choose which anime we go after. Personally, I've lived and worked in Japan for several years. I'm adding words, apparently. I'm one of the few foreigners who lived and worked in Japan with the intent of becoming Japanese. Oh, no. Insert.
You really think so?
Yeah, insert cringy 80s song here. This is extremely important with developing business relationships with Japanese. With Japanese, not with the Japanese. With Japanese. Okay. My business partner, Hironori, has extensive experience with startups and developing business in the USA and Japan. Not Hironori-san, not Mr. Hironori, or even a first or family name. I don't know if Hironori is his first or last name. We don't know. That's the only name. I mean, is he like Cher? Like what? Finally, and most importantly, we've already met up with the rep for the largest conglomerate of Japanese anime producers. They have given us their approval and their promise to assist us with licensing anime. We are devoting our life savings to AnimeTube, registered mark, and we would not do it if we did not have the confidence we could bring to this project where it needs to be. Sincerely, George Weller, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So much.
Yeah, it sounds completely above board.
Yeah, like, I wouldn't throw money at these guys. I'm pretty sure most of us won't. I don't think I have to really worry about that. Just, no, don't. If you're that worried about not going to Crunchyroll or Funimation or anywhere else to get your anime, there's GoGo Anime. Just pirate it like we did back in the day, like we still do nowadays. Piracy is how I keep current on the Pokemon anime. Piracy is how I can watch anime that I haven't been able to watch in full since the early 2000s. That nobody else is licensing and redistributing because they see no money in it. That's all they're worried about. So I understand they do want to get more obscure anime titles out there and spread around, and that's fine. The mission is fine. Their methods are a little sus, especially when you start bringing big money into it. I mean, I would not be surprised if a lot of the anime culture that we have now, the popularity behind it and all of that good stuff, was brought about in part, at least in part, because of piracy. All right, like that's and obviously piracy is not the whole thing. You got the legit mainstream stuff, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon. They're the big ones from the 90s that made anime a bit more of a big thing here. But when you get beyond those, I'm pretty sure piracy probably had a little bit of say in it. Because I remember before they brought the Mega Man Battle Network anime over here, I would pirate the original subs. Like, I would pirate them. And then when I saw that they were going to start dubbing it over here, I'm like, oh, hell yeah. And I watched that shit legally. For a given value of quality for that particular dub, which I blame on the direction, but, it was still a legal means to do it, and I did. And that's where a lot of the people who do pirate things, I believe, and maybe I'm wrong, but I like to believe that if you're going to be pirating something that you would willingly pay for, no matter what, then you make that an option for them to do so legally, whether it's free streaming with limited ads or what have you. You make it easy, you make it accessible, you make it affordable. That's going to diminish piracy overall. Can't get rid of it, but you could definitely diminish it by doing things like and if these companies actually had a brain cell between them that wasn't thinking about money, they would see that, and in doing so, maybe they would have even more money. Ever think about that? Oh.
Yup.
I was. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was about to say something, but I'm going to let Scully have, because he hasn't so much.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on all this, Scully?
Yeah, it looked sketch from the get-go. I just skimmed that thread, but yeah, it looks incredibly sketch. And evidently it is. And also, yeah, I don't usually pirate shit. It's like, but, sometimes I have no choice to. And, really, I do think that companies need to, be more customer friendly and not so, single-minded about monies.
Yeah. Yeah, not to mention also pay their talents more.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of things they can do. Because I remember, like, back in the day, this is like 2007, 2008, where, and even so on, mainly when I first started talking with Kat, we'd talk about piracy, and she's not the biggest fan of piracy because she's worked in the anime industry, done like voices, and she works anime cons and all of that. So she's worked there, and and one of the arguments that has been put forth, and it's legit, that if you pirate, you could very well be digging into the paychecks for voice actors and animators and all of that. Which, yeah, but at the same time, that's not necessarily the fault of the pirators. It's more the fault of the corporations who are too damn cheap. Now, and bear in mind, I am saying corporations here, insinuating that these are the people who can afford to not only weather a little bit of piracy, but also pay their employees a living wage. So, which is why if you see somebody steal from Walmart, no, you didn't. That kind of an attitude there. Do not pirate from the little guys. Just do not do it. If they're just starting out and they're just now getting things up and going and all of that, and they still need the help and they're still struggling, don't pirate from them, please, don't.
No.
But from Disney, pirate all day long. Fuck it. They throw money. They throw money at everything except their employees, unless your name is Robert Downey Jr. I only semi joke, but yeah,
he's worth it.
Yeah, he is a good actor. But also worth it is all of the cast members in their parks and all of the production crew and everything too.
Oh,
so yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. I just want to make that clear.
Yeah.
But yeah, so with that, we are going to go ahead and take our break, and when we come back, I up a few.
Sorry, I did have like a small quick thought on the whole parting versus like other means.
Yeah.
And so I recently, someone had said on one of the boards that apparently it's been confirmed that Disney Plus are not releasing the MCU shows onto physical media, which is kind of sucky. But I'm like, Okay, that is kind of stupid, especially because not everyone's going to subscribe, and like the people coming into like, especially Multiverse of Madness and like, Quantumania or whatever they're called, like the stuff that's happened in WandaVision, like the stuff that's happening in Loki, they're gonna kind of want to know about that stuff, but maybe can't or don't want to like get the Disney Plus for whatever reasons. But kind of separate to that thing and more specific to anime. And this is something I've been thinking for years, especially with something like Pokemon, something that is big and popular. Like, one, everyone knows that like a lot of anime series, I think it's getting better, but like back in the day, you had like one VHS with like 4 episodes for 50 quid or whatever ridiculous price it was.
Yeah.
But even when they do release onto DVDs, like at a slightly more affordable price, like with Pokemon, like they did with the first series of MLP, they put that shit out of order. They don't put the episodes in proper order. It's like, do proper box sets, do them in the correct order. You build up a market for your kid friendly or other stuff, the stuff that is popular, the stuff that people have heard of, and then like put in adverts for some of the other stuff. Put in the age appropriate trailers.
Yeah.
And then, like, make sure that box set comes out at a reasonable price.
Exactly. Accessible and affordable. And Disney pulling the whole no physical media for their Disney Plus Marvel shows. That's why we have Flixtor.
Yep.
So yeah, we're gonna go poke Flixtor and then we'll be right back. Hey folks, we'll get back to the show in a moment, but first I want to tell you about Patreon. Patreon is what I use to get around all of the YouTube adpocalypse bullshit, and while I don't have a lot right now, every little bit does help. And if you like what you hear or what you see on any of my videos or podcasts, head on over there. For as little as $1 a month, you can get all of these things early before anybody else does, and you can get them completely ad-free. Yeah, I know YouTube right now is technically ad-free, but at some point, I'm probably going to get big enough to where ads will start coming in, and those can be annoying, so you want to avoid that, right? If you go ahead and go now over to patreon.com/Gomer21XX, leave $1, $5, doesn't matter how much, you can get all of these. Again, you can get them early, and you get them without ads, even when I reach the point on YouTube to where ads can be put on these videos. So it's a win-win. And you can even avoid the ads that go up on the Anchor versions that go out to all of the other websites that are out there. No ads. It's great. So that's patreon.com/Gomer21XX.
And now, an important message from Tyler Green, Kitty Quinn, and Randy Martin.
Are you tired of asking yourself if that obscure show or movie you watched once was a fever dream?
Is it still in your brain to this day as a 3 a.m. channel-changing hallucination? Well, join us as we yank that said memory out of your subconscious when we do a deep dive on it on Channel KRT.
Channel KRT is a new bi-weekly podcast where we look at the best and worst of obscure media. We'll be covering such topics as
The Puzzle Place,
Clown TV,
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the TV show,
Reanimated,
The Weird Al Show,
We Sing,
and more. Join us every other week over at Spotify, YouTube, Anchor, and wherever podcasts can be heard. Channel KRT, cut to static.
Hey y'all, wanna watch some anime? I haven't seen this one.
Oh, good idea. I've been meaning to watch this one.
Hey, can we watch this one? I was distracted.
Ignoring how easily Gomer is distracted by booty, how about this one?
Alright. How about this? Let's just pick one and watch one episode a week. We can even talk about it on a podcast. It's random, it's anime. What should we call it?
Randome. Check out Randome. Recorded every week at twitchtv.com/rosenthorn. And available. Oh, good lord.
This is all staying in.
Howdy, everybody, and welcome to this little mid-roll break segment thing that I do. Yeah, been a while, and I'm not really too sure why. It's like for certain projects, I've been easily able to do multiples of them. If you follow me on TikTok, I've been doing the incorrect Danganronpa shitpost memes or what have you. Those are fun to do. But then it's like things like this and other things that I've been wanting to do have been kind of falling back mentally as well. But hopefully with this, I might be able to get back more into the swing of things, regardless of anything else going on. I've fallen back on my streaming too. Oof. But with the eventual release of Blaster Master 03 coming on July 29th, maybe that'll help get me back into doing more streaming or what have you. And then, of course, in October with Metroid Dread, which, oh yeah, all that stuff happens as the last show, didn't it? We finally get a new original side-scrolling Metroid game that's not a remake. Dread has been in development hell for way too long. Like, oh, jeebus. And just, that's coming. We've got the new Pokemon games coming. Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. I keep on wanting to say Shiny Diamond because, of course, I do. But yeah, it's not much to this one. I kind of did it just to do a little quick hello and type thing, and also to justify how I'm updating and editing in this new other software that I've been using to just to basically try and make things a little bit easier when I go and do it, because for those who watch it on the regular stream, you get the ads, but if you watch on Patreon, then you don't get that little ad segment. So, and I say watch, listen. You don't get that little ad segment. And doing it in Vegas, it's a bit of a hassle to pull it in and out. But if I do it on, what is the name of the program? I always blank on the name of the program. VSDC Video Editor. If I do it on that, then I can just put it in its own scene, and then when I need to remove it, I just remove it. Or even better, I can just do them all out in chunks. In fact, audio-wise, that's going to be the best idea. Just do them out in chunks and then upload them to Anchor, where it goes out to the public. And then I can also just stitch the audio portions that I want together through some sort of thing or what have you, and then not a problem. I just do that and it's good to go. But yeah, we'll see how that all works out by the time y'all hear this. So yeah, just a few quick updates, a couple of things I'm looking forward to, and hopefully it won't be a month before the next episode. But yeah, enjoy the rest of the show, and we'll catch you next time. Bye. And we are back from our break. And I dug up a few news articles while we were getting ready today. And just because we needed something more to talk about than just anime. Trust me, I'm on a whole other podcast that talks about anime.
I know you've got news stories and maybe it's in there, but what the hell's going on with that condo?
Oh, you're talking about the one in Miami that collapsed?
Yeah, because I heard it was there was supposed to be a controlled explosion, but then it's there were people still in there, and I'm very confused.
I think it was just I think it was just faulty or what have you. I don't have it in front of me, so I can't quite remember, but yeah, when that happened, my friend Lacey I was like, oh my god, a fucking building just collapsed down here. Oh shit.
I assume they're okay though.
Yeah. So, anyway, over the past month or so, I've been doing a little bit more with my TikTok, and mostly Danganronpa related shit posts and all of that. And a lot of it, I would do my own voice acting and all of that. Every now and then, I'll put in a clip from something else. And of course, when you're on TikTok, you see a whole bunch of different trends. There's videos where people do very questionable things to food, like washing it with Dawn. Yes, that is a thing.
Dawn?
Yeah, Dawn, as in the dish soap.
Oh, I didn't know it was a dish soap. We don't have it.
Oh, okay. But yeah, and then of course I end up on things like political TikTok. I end up on fandom TikToks of various kinds because I follow friends that have varying tastes and fandoms. Like,
Mhm.
I'm surprised I don't end up on Supernatural TikTok because one of my friends is a big Supernatural fan. But, you know. And of course,
First few
there's...
episodes, I can see the appeal. I just didn't get into it.
Same. I saw the
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo episode. That's because Aaron showed it to us because it went into his
I knew
wheelhouse
it was
for a hot minute.
Aaron.
Yeah, it went into his wheelhouse for a hot minute, so, you know. Which, that wasn't a bad episode. I'm not sure I'm going to watch the entire 15 seasons, but, you know, whatever. And I do know about some of the controversies, like towards the end and all of that, and I'm not going to get into that. But, and of course, I do find myself on Thirst Talk quite a bit because, because, whew. And of course, TikTok seems like they want to try and kill Thirst Talk because, oh my god, it's too sexual, there might be kids on here. That's why we put warnings on it, asshole. Oy.
Thespian does seem like one of those shows that became a victim of its own success. Like, they had a story that it wanted to tell, and they told that story, but then people were like, more!
Yeah, there's been some shows on that. But there are some disturbing TikTok trends. Like, there was one I don't think it was a trend so much as a user or an account really, where it was like playing up like brother sister incest. Proceed to ew.
Gross.
Ew.
Gross.
Yeah, very much so. But this is more disturbing than that because this could actually get people killed if they're not careful.
Oh no.
Presumably, I will say this. I found this on Yahoo News through the Evening Standard. I don't know if they're a reliable source or how reliable they are. So take this with a grain of salt. Huh?
They're like middle road. They're not too bad, Evening Standard. They're like the one you can get in London, like the street called Evening Standard.
Okay. Okay, so yeah. So with all that out of the way, disturbing TikTok trend: these toddler placed on railway line.
I saw that. I didn't click on it because I was like, I don't want to be disturbed by that.
Oh no! So a terrifying TikTok trend. Alliteration has seen a toddler put on a railway track as police issue a warning to stop the alarming rise in dangerous trackside selfies. In one horrific image, the young child was caught being placed on a level crossing for a picture, and images have been posted on social media showing people posing on the rails in Harlech, Gwynedd. I'm assuming it's either Welsh or some sort of British or something.
Have you got it? I can't see it from
Gwynedd.
Gwynd?
Gwynd. Okay. Welsh people. You have too many letters. Too many silent letters. It was like that one, like, I don't remember how long ago it was, but somebody sitting in like this long Welsh name or whatever. I took one look at it, I was like, no, fuck you.
That one place in Wales that starts with LLAN. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of those things you look at and you just say, fuck you. Fuck you, that's too long.
Yeah.
Probably has too many silent letters. And I do bitch and I do moan about it and I nitpick about it, but you know what? If y'all can manage it, that's fine. My brain just cannot process that very well. So
they have completely different pronunciation rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rail officials said videos and pictures had attracted more than 1 million views on popular social media sites, including Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok. Snapchat. Okay. Network Rail said there have been 433 serious incidents reported since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic in Wales alone. Okay. You know, it goes on with a few more anecdotes and everything else. But basically, don't do this. Just don't. No. I mean, it's one of those things, like, if you're local and you know your train schedule, because those things typically run on a more regular basis, you are taking your own life into your hands when you do this. Adult person. Or even teenage person. You know, because, you know, I don't consider teenagers children, but not necessarily adults either. But they are grown enough to perhaps understand consequences. I would also argue some children are, but, you know, They're still children.
I would
So-
say if you're old enough to be getting the train on your own, you're probably old enough to be aware of the train safety rules.
Yes. So if you are local, like we used to have a train that would run through town. We don't anymore, sadly. But we used to. And we had a good idea of when that train would be. I'm pretty sure people in the next town over, they have a train that regularly runs through town, and they're like, okay, it's this time of day. Okay, train's going to be running through at this point. Do whatever. And you have to cross these with cars. And not every train track crossing has the arms that come down. No, just up in Dothan, Alabama, there are train tracks that don't even have the arms or even lights. You just say, oh, it's a railroad crossing, and that's it. So those always give me pause. But the difference is, you're in a car, potentially going at least half the speed of that train. Enough to get you across safely. You're on foot, you may not make it if you try and cross in front of a train. So where am I going with this? Where I'm going with this is, you take your life into your own hands when you do it. Now, when you involve a small child that doesn't know any better and you're doing this, that's a big old nope-a-rooney for me. Don't involve your children in this, please. Just don't.
It's not good.
Oh. Actually reminds me of this video thumbnail that I saw that I actually turned into its own little meme thing as well. It's a video. Let me grab that up. I'm sure I'll find that. But it's a video of somebody trying to lick a moving locomotive, and they do note that it's dangerous and everything.
They're not saying Spider-Man 3,
right? Yeah, licking a moving freight train locomotive, in parentheses, dangerous.
Double
gonna
parentheses, no shit.
Yeah, and I'm gonna put the meme I turned that into our green room because I thought of one Danganronpa character who would do it, and Thomas the Tank Engine because why not? And Thomas is looking very concerned at the crazy tongue lady who might be trying to lick him. That is a sentence I just said.
Thomas is very concerned today. The
Yes.
strange lady is making him worried.
Yes. Oh. But yeah.
I can't do Ringo's accent.
Yeah. I probably could have put some effort into it, but I don't feel like.
Nah. Oh, there it is. Sorry.
But yeah, so y'all have any extra thoughts on this?
Don't eat the
That's
baby.
Yeah, that and you want to end up on Live Leak because that's how you end up on Live Leak.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's still around, isn't it?
What's left leak?
It's basically the video streaming service thing that they basically don't have any of these rules that like you or Dailymotion would have. Basically, if you want to see somebody fucking die, you go to Live Leak.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glad I don't know about it.
Yeah. I mean, and there have been other sites like that in the past. Hell, there was one site where I actually watched a beheading because I was younger and I was morbidly curious, and it quite rightly freaked me the fuck out.
Yeah, actually, there are several sites like that. Don't ask me how I know.
Yeah.
I don't need to ask you because internet.
Yeah. And trust me, when you're a media masochist, you find these things. That's one of the things that help keep me and Becky together. 7.5 years, we keep it fresh by being media masochists. And okay, I've pulled up my next article, but I'm just looking at one of the side articles. Butt crack leggings are 2021's most daring trend yet.
How about no? No.
They
I don't.
Okay.
Thing is, they've always
Sorry.
been there.
You just randomly reminded me of something that happened today.
Uh-oh.
So I was walking home and I ended up behind a young gothling that was wearing a skirt that did cover everything. She had knickers on. She had tights on. But yeah, you could see the cheek wobble as she was walking.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. She did her. She was, it was fine. That wasn't what made me laugh. What made me laugh was my phone at that point chose to shuffle "My Milkshake Brings All the Boys to the Yard."
Oh. Oh, lordy. But yeah, like butt crack leggings is like, no, that's just a wedgie. I mean, if you're comfortable with it, that's fine. But you might want to take that out if it's getting to you. I mean, hope you wiped well. All I gotta say.
Yeah.
I would do that, but I mean, fair.
Yeah. Reminds me of an old joke from, of all people, Larry the Cable Guy. Talking about somebody at one of these fairs, like wearing really tight leggings and had a big fart that just had this like little bubble in her tights, and somebody thought she was trying to steal something from the flea market or fair or whatever, and of course, the security being the security, they go to pull down the pants to investigate. Meanwhile, Larry's hauling ass out of there, and so when they pull those tights down, it was like a stink bomb of epic proportions went off. I hear him tell it.
Oh,
And it's like, yeah, because so that's what these leggings, these butt crack tight leggings are reminding me of. Things Larry the Cable Guy, holy shit. And we'll mock and we'll make fun of him, but he does have a few good bits at the very least.
yeah, he does.
And a lot of people tend to forget that Larry the Cable Guy himself is a character made up by Dan Whitney. So yeah. Anyway, so this article that I was looking at that I saw this thing on, this one it's out of Scotland. Apparently the news just wanted me to go to the UK today. So this one I found on 22words.com. I haven't visited that site in forever.
I'm like, do you want me to read this, or do I want to hear your Scottish accent?
I'm not even going to try a Scottish accent. At least not intentionally. So, a Scottish secondary school will no longer teach the classic novel To Kill a Mockingbird after teachers claim the book promotes a white savior narrative. Another reason the English department at James Gillespie's High School in Edinburgh wants to get rid of the book by author Harper Lee is that the N-word is used more than 40 times. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Look at the time frame it was written in. Also, who is saying the words? Because it's like, you gotta put things in their perspective, too. And I can see where one might get the white savior narrative out of it. Because, and as they reiterate in the article itself, To Kill a Mockingbird explores many residents of Maycomb who are racist, and during the novel, the character of Atticus Finch is asked to defend Tom Robinson, who is a black man who is wrongly accused of raping a white woman. Atticus takes on the case even though everyone knows he has little hope of winning. Spoiler alert, I believe he got the guy off.
Pretty sure. I've only read it once ages ago, but yeah, I think it did.
Yeah. And it was also a movie that starred Gregory Peck. One of the manliest men to ever manly men. But, Yeah. But anyways, so... And it's like, I can see where the white savior narrative might come into play on that, understandably so, but it's much more than that. It's like saying Dune is a white savior narrative. It's like going, and if he's going, and I don't think that's where Frank Herbert was going, but at the same time, justified in universe because that's how the Bene Gesserit just manipulated everything. So it was like, yeah, Paul just took advantage of it to initially take revenge for his house, and then also take over the universe. And then that gets all deconstructed in following books, But, Paul himself, noble goals, but he wasn't necessarily trying to be a white savior to the Fremen. It's like, hey, these guys hate the Harkonnens. I hate the Harkonnens. Let's kick their ass! Is basically the very, very, very watered-down version of it. And he did this despite knowing that doing this would cause a universal jihad that would sterilize over 90 planets. So yeah, you wanna idolize Paul Atreides. That's what you're getting into. Just saying, His son did a lot worse, but so yeah, like you wanna take To Kill a Mockingbird because it's a white savior narrative. It's like maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but it's more than just simple white savior. Like it goes and explores other things. Dune, which I've also mentioned, explores other things from Paul's perspective, from Jessica's perspective, from Stilgar's perspective, from the Harkonnen perspective, even. It's not just a simple white savior, mighty whitey thing here on either part. Because To Kill a Mockingbird, it explores the racism and explores how people are treated unfairly because of just perceptions we have of how they look. Like people were quick to say, hey, Tom Robinson raped this white woman, even though he didn't do a thing like that. It was actually some white fucker that raped a woman, if I remember right. But
Again,
but they still killed Tom anyway, because even though he was legally cleared of it, the hate mob was like, no, we're gonna lynch you anyways, because how dare you? How dare you interact with a white woman type thing. And then they also went after the main characters. Scout, I think was her name. Ian, I think it was like her brother or something. And there was a creepy looking old white guy who people just kind of kept their distance from, and he ended up saving their asses. So yeah, you don't necessarily need to judge a book by their cover. In fact, you shouldn't do that. Like I'll even use Trump as an example here. If I knew nothing else about him at all, like first seeing him, I would be like, okay, he looks a little weird, but you know what? I don't give a shit. And then he starts opening his mouth and starts spewing his fascistic white supremacy ideas, and I'm like, okay, you are a piece of shit, and you need to be not here.
Yup.
So that's one of those lessons you can take from To Kill a Mockingbird. And yeah, maybe some of the language is outdated, but it was written in a time period where it was maybe not more acceptable, but it was more prevalent, whether it's acceptable or not. And you also got to remember, Maycomb is full of racists. So if you're going to have a town full of racists, they're going to say racist things. And sure, you could do that without using the N-word. Sure. But, at the time it was written, maybe not. Or maybe sometimes it's used to drive the point home about how these people are really racist. Would I do it if I was writing something like this? Probably not. I wouldn't. Just no. But and they do note that they ban it just from being taught, like in the curriculum. And I say ban. They're just not going to teach it in class. It's still going to be in the library, so it's still available.
Yeah.
They also did the same thing. Also doing the same thing with Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck, because of its dated representation of Black people. And for those who don't know, the novel narrates the experiences of George Milton and Lenny Small, two migrant ranch workers who moved from place to place in California in search of new job opportunities during the Great Depression in the United States, and it presents themes such as dreams, racism, sexism, and loneliness. Yeah, spoiler alert, George has to shoot Lenny, George had to shoot Lenny in the back of the head after Lenny accidentally sexually assaulted somebody and killed her. So, yeah, spoiler alert for a nearly 100-year-old book.
Yeah.
You say that, but not everyone's read it.
Yeah. In fairness, I haven't read it outright either. I just know the plot beat. So, it's a lot of these older books have it was his sled moment. But yeah, and having and somebody brought up like, hey, there are newer novels that could tackle the same issues, that could be updated, that could be seen through a more modern lens, and that's fine. In and of itself, that's not a bad thing. Some stories do need to be up, and for a at the time modern audience. Like, I'm pretty sure before To Kill a Mockingbird came out, there was probably something similar to it that was a lot more problematic even then. compared to the time it came out. And so we're seeing now. But I think, I think as I look through this and I'm talking through this more and more and more, it's like refusing to teach it because of different things. Like, it's your right to do so as a school. And again, they still have the books available in the library. And that's fine. They're not removing it from the school entirely. They're just, the teachers aren't going to teach it. So, and there have been plenty of books that I read in high school that were not taught in our classes. And it's a lot better than some American schools wanting to just outright ban the book because it makes white people feel uncomfortable. So,
yeah.
It's at least a better reasoning than that. Do I see the white savior narrative in it? I can see it, but I don't think that was the intent. I think when it comes to Atticus, I think the intent was, you have a job to do, and while you may have some prejudiced feelings in your heart, you still do your job to the best of your ability because they are still people.
Yeah.
That's my takeaway from that.
Yeah.
So yeah. So it's one of those things. It's like they're available, but at the same time, kids growing up and all of that. If you're interested in it and you want to see how really racist and wrong people were, read some old books. Even Mark Twain. What was it? Huck Finn. One character has the N-word as part of his name. So it's like, yeah, and that was, at least partially acceptable at the time because this was like the 1800s when he wrote that.
Yeah.
So you got to put everything in its time. But does that mean that we whitey honky motherfuckers can go around spewing that out willy-nilly in 2021? No. Because while yes, context is important, not everybody cares about the context.
Mm-hmm.
Which is really a shame.
Yeah.
And for people who are wondering, does it fall on one side of the aisle or the other? It really does fall on both. I've been guilty of it myself too. I think we all have, and it's something we all need to be better at.
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all have any extra thoughts on that article?
I need to sort of have a look at it myself, but it does seem to be like a so-called anti-woke thing happening in the UK at the moment. Like, which it really strikes me as stupid because my very basic understanding of woke is simply aware that shit happens, and to me, the interpretation of being like actively anti-woke is essentially admitting you're being racist.
Yeah, sounds about right.
I thought, yeah, you guys know the actor Lawrence Fox. I think I've never mentioned before. He's done some drama. I think he used to be married to Billie Piper for like a hot minute.
Oh,
he's
okay.
like he's this blonde, opinionated actor. He actually ran for mayor of London and lost his deposit because he didn't get enough votes.
Oops.
I'll see if I can get a quick picture of him because the knowing what he looks like kind of helps with this joke. But yeah, there does seem to be like this whole thing of like, like kind of anti-woke, kind of like being hyper aware of stuff. And like, is it good to teach? I think they should talk about it, but it doesn't necessarily have to be forced. And to be fair, I didn't have To Kill a Mockingbird at school. I read it independently. Right. Like we did one that was like I don't know what it was called. It was like a post-nuclear war book. It wasn't Thread. It wasn't like a novelization of Thread.
Right.
But that was dark. We did like Romeo and Juliet, Julius Caesar. We did like different books. We did some lighthearted stuff as well. But I don't ever remember To Kill a Mockingbird coming up. But then, different schools have had different curricula. I think as a way to discuss and introduce these ideas, you should. But yeah, like they're not taking it like I said, they're not taking out the thing. They're not saying it's inaccessible, and they're not saying that if a student wants to discuss it with a teacher, that they can't do that or like ask about it. They're just saying that they can't actively teach it. They can't like force them to learn about it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me just.
I mean, and yeah, this particular episode, you're seeing me go through whole sorts of things in one article alone. So, yeah, it sounds like the more I think about it, the more I see of it. It's like they're trying to update their teaching curriculum, which, okay, I don't know if I agree with it because I think To Killing Mockingbird, for all of its definitely 2021 cringe type things that might be there, and any other problematic instances, like, yeah, it's been a staple of classroom, at least here in America, for generations for a reason.
Yeah.
And if it makes white people feel uncomfortable, good. That's not why they're doing it in Scotland, but
no.
But yeah. So honestly, at the end of the day, if the same lessons are being taught through different means, through different stories or what have you, then good. Yeah. As long as those lessons are still there, because they are important.
Yeah. I've uploaded the pictures.
Yeah. Like.
Okay. So basically, someone said, describe Lawrence Fox as what you get when you try to order Paul Bettany from Wish.
This is not Vision. You've captured his stunt double.
But yeah, he's like, his mayoral campaign was running on the freedom thing, like, stopping the lockdown. Like, pretty sure the mayor can't actually unilaterally do that.
No. Trust me.
And also, by the time, like, when the elections were happening, we were originally going to be unlocked like a month ago.
Yeah.
But by the time that he would have had any kind of power, it wouldn't have mattered anyway. So what else were you running on? What was your other campaign? Did you have any other policy? Yeah. I honestly, I would have, like, if I was in a situation where he was like doing his thing, I was like, I want to let him speak. I want to let him say his thing, and I'd be like, and then what?
Right?
Then what's the next step? What do you do after that?
Yeah, and
this is not necessarily directly against him, although I've never really watched anything he did as an actor. And also, he might actually be a competent enough actor, but
yeah,
I just never watched anything he was in. I think he's still jealous that his ex-wife was more famous at 15 than he'll ever be in his entire life. But he does come across as a complete self-entitled twat. Like I said, it might be a competent actor, but nah. Yeah, he's like, no. If you're not got a plan B, then what is your even? What are you even?
Right.
That's just my thoughts.
So yeah. Do you Scully? Do you have any extra thoughts on this? I don't remember if I asked.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's like you said. I mean, I get that they're trying to update their curriculum, and it's a good thing they're not just banning it from the school like America does. But like, I don't know. I think that book, is timeless, and they should still teach it. But I mean, if they're teaching the same lessons, that's fine. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to end on definitely some positive news. Bear in mind this news that I'm looking at. I think it was Scully who posted it back a couple of weeks ago.
Well, yeah.
In our general news channel on our Discord. So because this is really good news. Because yeah. So this was posted June 25th. I don't remember if he's been able to petition to get it overturned or anything. But Derek Chauvin, he was arrested, imprisoned, and put on trial. And he got 22 and a half years for murdering George Floyd.
Crab rave.
Yes. Crab rave and Oh, I remember. I remember first hearing about. I think it was when he was put into prison or was found guilty or what have you. I did this whole TikTok as Monokuma. I'd be like, "It's punishment time!" Yes. So, former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was sentenced Friday, as of June 25th, to 22 and a half years in prison for the murder of George Floyd. Snide gasps under Chauvin's knee led to the biggest outcry against racial injustice in the U.S. in generations. Fuck yeah. And one of those big protest flashpoints and wars was in Portland, Oregon. Hi, Mel. Mel is good people. And she lives like a couple of blocks where a lot of those protests were taking place. Wow.
My friend Jake did as well. He was like really close.
Yeah. So don't really need to go too much more in the article because here. But I will get through to some of the timeline here. Like, one of the protest leaders said just because it's the most time doesn't mean it's enough time, and all of that.
I think Legal Eagle said that he could still be done for like a different, like that was one sentencing, but there's another sentencing that could still happen for a different crime. So
yeah, so he could be away for a long, long time.
He's hoping.
Yes, I don't think they say how old he is, but hopefully it's enough to put him in prison, at minimum, the rest of his life. But yeah, I just had to end on that good note because we didn't do a show when it dropped, so like I wanted to mark that on the show at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is good.
I came up with this so I've had this like stupid pun in my head for ages, and I couldn't get the setup. I think I now have the setup, but I warn you, it is stupid.
Uh-oh.
So, what do the mysteries of YouTube and a former vice president have in common? A former vice president getting his groove on have in common.
Both pasty old white guys who should stop doing that.
It's an algorithm.
Oh.
It's so stupid. I've had it in my head for ages, like algorithm. They're like, there's got to be a joke in there somewhere.
Oh lordy. Oh yeah. But,
what can I say except you?
Yes. Though I mean, Al Gore, he's at least his heart's in the right place, at least when it comes to like climate change. So that's good.
Yeah, at least he makes an effort.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There was one other story that was put in our Discord that Scully put in there. The MILF-mobile.
Oh boy.
Yeah. This is like, you mentioned it before we started recording, and I'm like, is it? It was posted. Okay.
Oh, it was, yeah.
But yeah, it is basically. Do we have a good? Yeah, we do. So it's basically this car, this big like SUV type vehicle. The license plate reads "Tits Out," and on the back window you see MILF Mobile. Apparently, and hey, you know what? You got it, flaunt. Yeah. And there are a few other things that are small, a little too small for me to see at this point. But it's basically Maine is wanting to ban things like that. It's like really?
Have a sense of humor.
They want to ban vulgar vanity plates. And it's like, no. Only vanity plates that need to be banned are pro-Nazi and pro-white supremacy plates. And even then, sometimes it's like, well, at least we know who not to trust and allow business to.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. So it's like, on the one hand, we don't want to see it, but on the other hand, we know who the dumbasses are. So, and I said when I first heard about this, I'm like, wait, my friend Amanda's been in Maine? What? Because Yes, she is literally speaking a MILF. Literally. Not like people who would look at somebody in her late 30s, whether or not she has kids, and call her a MILF just because she's in her late 30s. Which I saw somebody on TikTok post a video about that, and he was, on the one hand, she was like, well, I'm flattered they think I'm attractive, but on the other hand, am I that old? So it's like, thank you, but also existential crisis. Oh no. But yeah, I don't think anybody here is going to be called any kind of pilf of a person I like to fuck in that sense anytime soon. I don't think.
I mean,
in the sense of the older person I want to fuck type thing. Yeah. But then again, I could be wrong. Then again, in the general pilf sense, I think we all have at least one person like in our lives. So, I'm aborting this metaphor.
Yeah, I would.
But speaking of
Back up
aborting,
while you were behind.
Yeah. Speaking of aborting, that's the end of the episode. Yeah, and that's going to be it for this episode. And I will say this: I forgot to bring it up at the beginning of the show, but normally when we do titles or what have you, I usually wait till after the end of the show or whatever to do it. But I'm recording my things a little bit differently. Shouldn't be any functionally different for you guys out there. But the way I've been recording it, I'm recording it now, is I have this whole thing set up on my streaming program, and I even have like the episode number and the title in there. That's already ready to go. And because of that, I already came up with a title for this episode before we even started. And we ended up talking about it, the TikTok toddler train videos.
Oh boy.
So yeah, if you're watching this on video, you're like, oh yeah, I already saw that. But if you're listening to it on audio, that's why. That's where it comes from. But yeah, so yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. Scully, where can we find you on social media if we want to find you?
I've got a link tree, linktr.ee/Scolipendra.
Sweet. And Michelle, where can we find you?
Same, but Phoenix 11 PHEONIX11.
Sweet. And as for me, I also have my link tree, linktr.ee/Gomer21XX. I do want to point out the Patreon, which, of course, if you're not a patron and you're listening to it just on the regular feeds or what have you, you'll have heard that spiel in the mid rolls and all of that good stuff. Every little bit helps. I think last episode is when Kitty became a patron. I think it was before that episode she did. So yay, Kitty is awesome people.
Hello, Kitty.
Yes. Yes, and in fact, one of the ads we play in the ad break is for Channel KRT, which she is one of the co-hosts for, and it's good fun. It's really good fun.
Cool.
And also do want to point out my TikTok, which apparently are liking my Danganronpa stuff over there, so or at least most of it. At least most of it. The latest one hasn't broken up 500 yet, but what you gonna do? Hey, it's fine. But yeah, thank you guys for listening, and we will catch you next time. And until then, this is Gomer the Ranting Thespian with Scolipendra and Michelle signing off.
Later.